Hi guys, in this lecture I'm going to talk about all these tabs here in Blender. They might feel overwhelming at first, but once you get used to them, they'll become much easier to navigate. Let's go through them one by one. The first one is the Tool Settings tab. It's exactly the same as the tool settings you can see on the left side. So if you want more space, you can choose to hide this one here. The second tab is the render properties. If you hover your mouse over the tab, it will show you its name. In this class, we're going to use Eevee and maybe sometimes Workbench, but we won't be using Cycles. Cycles is a more physically accurate rendering engine, while Eevee is faster and more suitable for real-time rendering, like what you'd see in game engines like Unreal or Unity. We'll talk more about these during the project. Next is the output properties. For example, here you can set the resolution of your rendered images or animations. We'll cover this in more detail later in the course. The next one is the view layer properties. We'll also check this out later during the project. The scene properties tab is where you'll find settings like units. By default, we'll work with metric units, so don't change this. Now we have the world properties tab. We won't use this much in this class, but here you can change the background of your scene. For instance, you can add an HDRI image or adjust the world color. If you switch to rendered view, you'll see how the background color changes. The object properties tab is where you can adjust an object's location, rotation, scale, and more. This is the same information you'll find on the right-hand side of the 3D viewport when an object is selected. The modifiers tab is one we'll use a lot. While we won't explore all the modifiers, we'll focus on some key ones like mirror, subdivision surface, boolean, and array. These are very useful for modeling, and we'll explore them in more detail later. Next is the particle properties tab. We won't be using this one in this class. The physics properties tab might come into play a little bit if I show you some tricks, but it won't be a primary focus. The object constraints tab won't be used in this class either. Now we have the object data properties tab. This can be useful for specific tasks like vertex coloring, but we'll touch on it only briefly. The material properties tab is very important. This is where you can apply materials to your objects. For example, you can set the base color, adjust the metallic properties, control roughness, and more. We'll explore these features later in the course. Lastly, there's the texture properties tab, which is useful for adding and managing textures. So that's a quick overview of the tabs in Blender. In the next class, we'll start our first modeling project, focusing on creating the overall shape of a room we'll be working on. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more Blender tutorials. See you in the next class.